Kevin Stefanski's patience snapped in New York. Dillon Gabriel's collapse against the Jets wasn't just another off night. It was a culmination of weeks of missed reads, shaky leadership, and a quarterback visibly drowning under pressure. The ex-Brown CEO didn't need analytics to see what everyone else saw: a player lost, a team divided, and a season on the brink. When a leader can't steady the ship, others step in. And that's exactly what happened.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Now, whispers inside the organization have turned into directives. It's time for Shedeur Sanders. With his poise, accuracy, and command, Sanders represents something Gabriel hasn't delivered: hope. This isn't about scapegoating a young quarterback. It's about survival. Cleveland's season is slipping, and the locker room's confidence is cracking. The Browns can't afford more excuses or developmental experiments. Sanders brings more than arm strength. He brings stability, leadership, and the charisma to reset the culture. The question isn't whether he's ready. It's whether the Browns are brave enough to move on before the season, and the fan base completely falls apart. You lose to the Jets, and not just lose, but collapse, and suddenly, the quarterback controversy you thought might blow over becomes the epicenter of a full-blown organizational crisis. That's exactly where the Cleveland Browns find themselves right now. 5 games into Dillon Gabriel's NFL journey, and the wheels are not just wobbling. They're flying off on national television. The performance against the New York Jets was a humiliation, a meltdown, a game that didn't just expose weaknesses. It broadcasted them in 4K. And somewhere behind the scenes, a familiar voice in the Browns' past was done watching in silence. According to reports, a former Browns CEO has stepped back into the picture, not officially, but forcefully enough to make waves. He's reportedly leaning hard on head coach Kevin Stefanski to make a change. And not just any change. Bench Dillon Gabriel and hand the keys to Shedeur Sanders. That's right. The Gabriel era might be over before it ever really started. Now, let's be clear. The writing has been on the wall for weeks. Dillon Gabriel hasn't improved. He hasn't settled in. There's no spark. No flashes of brilliance. He looks overwhelmed, unprepared, and completely incapable of elevating the team. The Browns didn't just get embarrassed by the Jets. They look like a team with zero offensive identity. And when you're 5 games in with your supposed franchise quarterback, that's a dangerous place to be. The stats don't lie. But more importantly, the vibes don't either. Gabriel's decision-making is slow. His field vision? Limited. He buckles under pressure, mentally checks out, and can't command the offense. There's a sense among insiders, and now, apparently among former execs, that this just isn't working, that it's not going to work, and that the Browns want to avoid wasting another season. They need to act. Fast. Enter Shedeur Sanders. While Gabriel flails under pressure, Sanders is doing the exact opposite, proving over and over that he belongs in high-pressure moments. At Colorado, he's shown elite-level poise, pinpoint throwing ability, and actual leadership. Not rah-rah energy, but the kind of calm, calculating command that screams NFL quarterback. People inside the organization are watching the film and asking the obvious question: what are we even waiting for? And here's where things get messy. Because while some folks in the Browns front office are ready to rip off the bandage and make the switch, others are hesitant. There's fear, understandably. If you bench Gabriel now, you're not just making a football decision. You're making a statement that you got it wrong, that your evaluation of Gabriel was a bust, that your off-season plan was flawed. And in the NFL, especially in Cleveland, admitting that kind of mistake can get people fired. That's exactly why Stefanski is in an impossible spot. He's being pressured by a former CEO, caught between protecting his current quarterback and potentially saving his job by pivoting to someone more promising. If he makes the move, he risks confirming every doubt that's been whispered about his leadership. But if he doesn't, he risks going down with the ship. Let's be honest, this isn't just about on-field performance anymore. The quarterback situation has turned into a full-on organizational drama. Gabriel hasn't inspired the locker room. He hasn't shown the kind of presence that galvanizes a team. And when your players don't believe in your QB, everything else starts to fall apart. The Browns know this. The fans know this. And that XEO definitely knows this. The stakes? Oh, they're massive. Because this isn't just about one loss or one bad stretch of games. This is about the direction of the franchise. The mood in Cleveland is already bleak. Fans are frustrated. Morale is low. Ticket sales are softening. Merch isn't flying off the shelves. But you bring in a guy like Shedeur Sanders? That changes overnight. He's not just a quarterback. He's a brand. A presence. A symbol of a future. And let's be real. The Browns need that now more than ever. But here's the risk that's haunting Stefanski and the rest of the Browns leadership team. What if they make the switch and still don't win? What if they put Sanders in and he struggles too? That's the tightrope they're walking. But at some point the question becomes, would you rather crash trying something bold or quietly sink doing nothing at all? Because Dillon Gabriel, he's not progressing. He's not learning from mistakes. He's not adapting. It's one thing to be a rookie making rookie mistakes. It's another to look completely lost. And Gabriel looks lost. His press conference after the Jets loss didn't help either. There was no fire, no accountability, just a bland, defeatist tone that did nothing to instill confidence. The body language is bad. The energy is worse. And then there's Shedeur, sitting on the sidelines with all that potential. Calm, composed, patient, hungry. Behind the scenes, the team is already split. Some staffers are reportedly banging the table for Sanders, convinced he can turn things around. They've seen the tape. They've watched him dissect offenses. He processes quickly, reads well, and doesn't panic under pressure. He's what Gabriel is not. Poised, prepared, and capable of leading. Not just managing, leading. This internal debate isn't just about football IQ or mechanics. It's about trust. Trust in leadership. Trust in talent evaluation. Trust in the future. Right now, there's none of it. There's just fear. Fear of being wrong. Fear of acting too late. Fear of facing the fans after another 6-11 season with nothing to show for it but excuses and regret. The Browns know where this road leads. They've walked it before. 12 times. And here comes the XEO, clearly tired of the same old narrative, trying to force a different ending. His message to Stefanski was clear. Make the switch. Save the season. Save your job. But Stefanski? He's still undecided. Still stalling. Still balancing optics with outcomes. Meanwhile, the fans are watching every throw, every misread, every stall drive, wondering how much longer they'll have to suffer through it. Shedeur, this isn't just a quarterback controversy. It's a referendum on the entire organization. Because choosing to stay loyal to Gabriel now isn't just risky, it's potentially catastrophic. The Browns can't afford to wait and see anymore. The sample size is there. The tape is there. The urgency is there. And the alternative, Shedeur Sanders, is sitting right in front of them. A quarterback with elite traits, clear vision, mental toughness, and actual leadership. Everything they thought they'd get with Gabriel, but haven't. There's a bigger picture here, too. The commercial side. This is a business, after all. And right now, Gabriel is not selling jerseys. He's not moving tickets. He's not giving the fan base any reason to be hopeful. Shedeur? He changes the math. Overnight, he brings excitement, attention, media, momentum. The kind of jolt that can change a losing locker room and reinvigorate a franchise. But every week that passes without a decision is a week wasted. The longer the Browns hesitate, the deeper the hole gets, and the harder it becomes to claw their way out. So they have a choice. Keep clinging to a failing plan out of fear, or take a risk on a quarterback with real upside and real leadership. And as one source put it, if they don't act now, they might as well start scouting the 2026 draft class. So what's it going to be, Cleveland? You got a quarterback who looks lost, a locker room that's losing faith, and a fan base that's running out of patience. You got an ex-CEO trying to drag you toward the future, and a coach stuck in limbo. And sitting right there on the bench is the one player who could actually turn this all around. The Browns' problems start at quarterback, and if they don't fix that, nothing else matters. So if Stefanski wants to keep his job, if the Browns want to salvage the season, if the fans want anything to root for again, it's time. Bench Gabriel. Play Shedeur Sanders. And maybe, just maybe, give this city something to believe in again. If you've been yelling at your TV too, hit that like button. Drop a comment below. Should the Browns make the switch or ride it out with Gabriel? And don't forget to subscribe, because with this team, the drama is just getting started. The whispers are turning into shouting matches, and the silence in the Browns front office is starting to sound like a scream. Cleveland is teetering on the edge of another lost season, and all eyes are locked on one decision that could change everything, or confirm the same dysfunction that's haunted this team for decades. You think this is just another quarterback switch? No, this is a moment of reckoning. Because keeping Dillon Gabriel in the starting role isn't just about stubbornness anymore. It's about denial. Denial that the experiment has failed. Denial that this team's evaluation process missed the mark. Denial that Gabriel simply doesn't have the it factor. And the sad part? Everyone knows it. Fans, analysts, even players. The defense is dragging itself off the field just to watch the offense implode again. The sideline energy is flat. The post-game pressers feel like funerals. And Stefanski? He looks like a man being slowly buried by his own decision-making. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is sitting on the bench like a locked vault full of potential. His college film doesn't just show talent. It shows readiness. The mechanics are crisp. The footwork is disciplined. The reads are sharp. When chaos hits, Sanders doesn't flinch. He processes. That's what separates guys who make it in the league from guys who get chewed up by it. And let's be real, Dillon Gabriel is already getting chewed up. He's rattled. Every snap looks like a panic attack. The pocket collapses, and so does his composure. When you watch him play, there's no rhythm, no anticipation, no trust in his progressions. He's not playing chess out there. He's playing whack-a-mole, slamming the panic button every time a defender gets within breathing distance. It's not just that he's underperforming. It's that he's regressing. The Browns tried to be patient, tried to ride out the bumps. But how many more times can you excuse the same mistakes? Misreads, underthrows, misprotections, blown timeouts. And worst of all, the complete absence of leadership. There's no spark, no accountability. Just that same exhausted look week after week. Contrast that with Shedeur. The guy owns his offense. He leads with presence. He's not just another athletic college QB. He's a calculated technician who knows how to read defenses and command attention. When things get tense, Sanders settles in. Gabriel unravels. But what's keeping him on the bench? Fear. Stefanski knows what this move represents. The second Shedeur steps onto that field, it's no longer just about performance. It's about legacy. It's about ownership admitting their guy didn't work out. It's about the head coach betting everything on a freshman face to save the wreckage of a season that's already spiraling. And let's not pretend that Stefanski doesn't feel the heat. This isn't just a quarterback controversy. It's his job. If Gabriel keeps flailing and the Browns keep losing, the calls for Stefanski's head won't just come from fans. They'll come from inside the building. This is a make the move or get moved kind of situation. The former CEO reportedly pushing for Sanders to take over isn't just stirring the pot. He's dumping it on the stove and turning up the heat. He sees what the fans see, what the locker room feels, that the Gabriel experiment has reached its expiration date, and that continuing pretend otherwise isn't just costly, it's delusional. You want to rebuild the culture? You want to reignite the fan base? You start with a quarterback. Always. And right now, Gabriel doesn't just look like a bad fit. He looks like a ghost of every failed Browns QB that came before him. You've seen this before too many times. The team drafts or signs a promising name. There's a brief flicker of hope. Then the season starts, and slowly that light dims. First, it's the accuracy issues. Then the decision-making. Then the locker room starts giving tight-lipped interviews. The coach doubles down. The fans check out. And suddenly it's another lost year. You can feel it happening again, unless something changes. That's why Sanders is more than just a possible upgrade. He's a pivot point. A shot of adrenaline to a team that's flatlining. A bold decision in a league where fortune always favors a team that acts before it's too late. Because this isn't about giving up on Gabriel. It's about refusing to go down with him. You give the guy 5 starts. He shows no growth, no confidence, no command. You move on. That's not heartless. That's how winning teams operate. And to those worried about Shedeur's readiness, what's the alternative? Wait for Gabriel to figure out mid-season? Let the fan base suffer another 8 weeks of 3-and-outs while your rookie learns how to read a blitz? That's not development. That's slow-motion self-destruction. The truth is, Shedeur's not just ready, he's needed. And if the Browns are serious about building something sustainable, about competing now, and not in some vague future, then the answer is obvious. You hand the reins to the guy who looks like a franchise quarterback, not the one who just looks scared. Look around the league. The teams that succeed are the ones that pull the trigger. Brock Purdy, C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert. These guys didn't get endless time to adjust. They got tossed in the fire, and they performed. Why? Because they were built for it. And so is Sanders. This is the kind of moment that defines franchises. Do you cling to the past, to a decision that's clearly gone sideways? Or do you act decisively, take control of the narrative, and send a message to your team, your fans, and your future opponents that you're not here to wait and hope. You're here to win. Every week that Stefanski stalls, the pressure mounts. Every game Gabriel starts, the chants for Sanders get louder. Every time the offense sputters, the locker room loses another ounce of faith. And when belief is gone, it's over. So what now? Because time's running out. The next few games will decide everything. Not just the season, but the trajectory of the Browns as a whole. And while the coach hesitates, the fans are already moving on. They want excitement, a reason to believe again. And they know they're not getting it from Dillon Gabriel. This is a crossroads moment, a clean break from a mistake, a shift toward the future, or another chapter in the Browns' long history of almost and maybes. Stefanski has a choice to make, and he better make it fast. Because whether he wants to admit it or not, the Gabriel era is circling the drain. And Shedeur Sanders? He's not just the next man up. He might be the only thing standing between this team and total irrelevance. Let's not sugarcoat it. Dillon Gabriel's grip on the starting job is barely hanging by a thread, and that thread is fraying fast. The idea that this is still a developmental phase is starting to feel more like a cover story than a strategy. And the worst part? Everyone knows it. Week after week, Gabriel is trotted back onto the field, and week after week, the Browns' offense looks like it's trapped in molasses. There's no urgency, no rhythm, no heartbeat, just a quarterback making the same rookie errors, except now they feel less like growing pains and more like confirmation. Confirmation that he's just not the guy. And yet, despite all signs pointing toward a much-needed switch, the team continues to hesitate. Why? Because changing quarterbacks isn't just a tactical move. It's a political landmine. It means someone in that building has to stand up and say, "We got it wrong." And in Cleveland, that kind of honesty doesn't come cheap. There's this underlying fear among the coaching staff, and especially Stefanski, that going to Shedeur Sanders now could backfire. That if he comes in and doesn't perform immediately, the decision will be used as ammunition to call for even bigger changes. And make no mistake, Stefanski knows he's not coaching for comfort anymore. He's coaching for survival. But survival doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from making the right move, even when it's the hard one. And it's not just that Gabriel's bad. It's that his failures are predictable. Defenders are reading him like a children's book. Opposing coaches aren't scheming against him. They're salivating. They know if they apply any kind of pressure, the play breaks down. And Gabriel breaks down with it. It's rinse, repeat, regret. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is sitting on the bench like a fire extinguisher in a burning building. And the Browns are too scared to pick it up. This is where you start to see how much of this mess is less about football and more about ego. Management doesn't want to admit Gabriel was a miss. The coaching staff doesn't want to admit their system isn't working for him. And ownership doesn't want to be seen as reactive or unstable. But guess what's worse than instability? Stagnation. The Browns have been stuck in this cycle for years. Clinging to the wrong guy for too long, then scrambling to clean up the mess after the season's already gone. If they wait until week 10 to start Shedeur, what's the point? At that point, You're just tossing him into a dead season with no momentum and nothing to gain. And for what? To protect egos? Let's be real. Fans don't care about saving face. They care about results. They care about seeing progress, hope, and a plan. Right now, they're getting none of that. They're getting vague quotes about development, a lifeless offense, and a quarterback who looks like he's one mistake away from a full breakdown. You can already feel the energy shifting. The locker room is losing confidence. The city is losing patience. And unless Stefanski wants to lose his job, he needs to wake up and make the only decision that makes sense. Start Shedeur Sanders now. Not next week. Not once Gabriel figures things out. Not once the team is out of playoff contention. Now. Because Shedeur isn't just a potential spark. He's the kind of quarterback that teams rebuild around. And that's exactly what the Browns need. A rebuild that actually leads somewhere, not another aimless experiment. With a QB who looks like a deer in headlights every time the pocket collapses. Let's talk stakes here. You put in Shedeur Sanders, and best case scenario, he lives up to the hype. He moves the ball. He gets the locker room fired up. The fans rally. The team gets competitive. Suddenly, you've got a foundation, a future. Worst case, he struggles, but at least you know, at least you've got film. At least you've shown fans that you're not afraid to try something new. Because right now, what they're seeing is a franchise paralyzed by fear. That's the real problem. The Browns aren't losing because of one quarterback. They're losing because of indecision. And nothing drags a team down faster than leadership that can't commit. Every day Sanders sits, the message gets louder. We'd rather stick with failing plan than risk a new one. So what's it going to be, Cleveland? Keep pretending Gabriel's just a few weeks away from turning into a franchise QB? Or take the reins off Sanders and let him show what he's got? Because whether this team wants to admit it or not, the clock is ticking, and the fans aren't waiting. They're already choosing sides. And if you ask them, the future's wearing number 2. Let us know where you stand. Drop a comment. Hit that like button if you're ready for the Shedeur Sanders era. And make sure you subscribe, because no matter what the Browns do next, it's going to be messy. And we'll be right here for every glorious second of it.